Have you ever pondered the ecological footprint of your garden? How sustainable are traditional gardening methods? Let's take a moment to delve into these questions. Traditional gardening, while bringing beauty and bounty, often comes with an unforeseen environmental cost. We're talking about an overuse of water, a resource that's not as infinite as we'd like to believe. Many gardeners, in an attempt to maintain lush landscapes, often end up using more water than necessary, leading to waste and strain on our water supplies. Then, there's the reliance on synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. Yes, they can make a garden bloom and keep pests at bay, but at what cost? These chemicals, when used excessively, seep into our soil, polluting it and the groundwater. They can harm beneficial insects, birds, and other wildlife, and upset the delicate balance of our ecosystems. Not to mention, they can also pose health risks to us, the gardeners. And let's not forget about the loss of biodiversity. Conventional gardening often leans towards monoculture, planting one type of plant over a large area. This kind of practice can lead to a lack of variety in our ecosystems, making them more vulnerable to diseases and pests. It also means we're missing out on the wonderful benefits of a diverse garden, like attracting a range of pollinators and other beneficial creatures. Even the seemingly harmless act of tilling the soil, a common practice in traditional gardening, can have negative effects. It can lead to soil erosion, loss of nutrients, and the release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, contributing to climate change. Now, that's quite a lot to take in, isn't it? But don't worry, we're not here to dampen your gardening spirit. Quite the opposite, actually. We want to introduce you to a form of gardening that's not only productive, but also environmentally friendly and sustainable. But what if there was a more harmonious, environmentally friendly way to garden? Well, there is. It's called biodynamic gardening, a method that emphasizes holistic plant care, soil health, and biodiversity, all while working in harmony with nature's rhythms. But more on that in the next scene. Stay tuned. Enter the world of biodynamic gardening, a holistic approach to cultivation that is as much about nurturing the earth as it is about growing plants. Biodynamic gardening is a unique method of cultivation that takes a holistic view of the garden ecosystem. It goes beyond organic gardening by incorporating principles of astronomy, homeopathy, and ecology to create a self-sustaining garden that harmonizes with nature. At its core, biodynamic gardening is about fostering a deep connection with the earth and working alongside nature. It's about understanding that every element in the garden, from the soil to the plants, insects, animals, and even the cosmos, plays a vital role in the health and vitality of the entire garden ecosystem. One of the key principles of biodynamic gardening is holistic plant care. This means considering the needs of the plant from root to tip and beyond, to the relationship it has with its environment and other organisms. It's about nurturing plants in a way that supports their natural growth processes and helps them resist pests and diseases naturally. Soil health is another crucial aspect of biodynamic gardening. The soil is seen as a living organism that needs to be nourished and cared for. A healthy soil teems with beneficial microbes and other organisms that help to break down organic matter and make nutrients available to plants. Biodynamic gardeners enrich their soil with compost and other organic matter, and avoid synthetic fertilizers and pesticides that can harm soil life. Biodiversity is also a key principle in biodynamic gardening. A diverse garden with a variety of plants, insects, and animals is more resilient and can better withstand pests, diseases, and changes in weather. Biodynamic gardeners encourage biodiversity by planting a wide range of plant species, creating habitats for wildlife, and using natural methods to control pests. In essence, biodynamic gardening is about working with nature rather than against it. It's about creating a garden that is not just productive, but also beautiful, healthy, and full of life. Biodynamic gardening is about fostering a deep connection with nature and working alongside it, rather than against it. The soul of biodynamic gardening lies in the soil. That's right, the vitality of plants, the flavors of our fruits, and the colors of flowers all depend on the health of the soil. It's like a living organism, teeming with microorganisms, fungi, and earthworms, which together create a fertile ground for plants to thrive. Now, how do we create such fertile soil? Composting is one of the key answers. Composting transforms kitchen scraps and garden waste into a nutrient-rich soil conditioner. It's a cycle of renewal that returns nutrients back to the soil, promoting plant growth and reducing waste. In biodynamic gardening, we take composting a step further with what we call biodynamic preparations. These are unique mixtures of herbs, mineral substances, and animal manures, which are used to enhance the composting process. There are 9 different biodynamic preparations, each with its own special role. For example, preparation 500, often referred to as horn manure, is made from cow dung stuffed into a cow's horn and buried in the soil over winter. It's then sprayed on the soil in a homeopathic dose to stimulate root activity and boost soil life. These preparations are not just fertilizers, they are catalysts that enhance the soil's natural processes, increasing its fertility and vitality. They work in harmony with nature, revitalizing the soil and making it more resilient to pests and diseases. Natural fertilization is another crucial aspect of soil fertility in biodynamic gardening. Instead of synthetic fertilizers, we use natural alternatives like green manures, cover crops, and rock dust. These not only provide essential nutrients to the soil, but also improve its texture and structure, making it more hospitable for plant roots. So, you see, soil fertility is not just about adding nutrients, it's about creating a living, breathing ecosystem that nourishes plants from the ground up. And that's what biodynamic gardening is all about. Creating a harmonious cycle of life where everything is connected, where the health of the soil reflects the health of the plants and ultimately, the health of us, the gardeners. Healthy soil is the foundation of a thriving garden. In biodynamic gardening, the way we plant and cultivate matters. Indeed, it's not just about getting your hands dirty, it's about understanding the intricate dance between all living things and creating an environment that fosters this dance. Let's delve into the biodynamic methods for planting and cultivation, starting with the use of natural materials. Synthetic fertilizers and pesticides are a no-go in biodynamic gardening. Instead, we turn to the bounty of nature for our gardening needs. Think compost teas, bone meal, green manure, and rock dust, all natural ways to feed your plants and improve soil health. These materials not only provide essential nutrients to your plants, but also enhance the soil's structure and stimulate beneficial microbial activity. Next, we have companion planting. This isn't a new concept, but it's one that is integral to biodynamic gardening. The idea is to group plants together that benefit one another. Some plants may deter pests that would otherwise harm their neighbors, while others may improve the soil's nutrient content, benefiting those planted around them. For example, marigolds are known to deter nematodes, protecting vulnerable plants, while beans fix nitrogen in the soil, a boon for nitrogen-loving plants like corn. Now let's talk about crop rotation. This is the practice of growing different types of crops in the same area across different seasons. It prevents the buildup of pests and diseases that can occur when the same plant is grown in the same spot repeatedly. Crop rotation also helps to maintain or improve soil fertility, as different crops have different nutrient requirements. By rotating crops, we ensure that the soil's nutrient levels are balanced, promoting healthier, more vigorous plant growth. It's also worth mentioning the importance of timing in biodynamic gardening. The biodynamic calendar, which we'll explore in more detail later, guides us on when to plant, prune, and harvest based on the moon's phases and celestial influences. By aligning our gardening activities with these cosmic rhythms, we can optimize plant growth and vitality. Lastly, let's touch on the cultivation of the plants themselves. In biodynamic gardening, we aim to create a diverse, resilient garden ecosystem. This means growing a variety of plant species, not just a single cash crop. Diversity encourages a healthier, more balanced garden by attracting a wide range of beneficial insects and promoting a robust soil ecosystem. In closing, these techniques not only nurture plants but also contribute to the overall balance and harmony of the garden ecosystem. It's a holistic approach, one that respects and works with nature rather than against it. Biodynamic gardening is not just about growing plants, it's about nurturing a thriving, sustainable ecosystem. So let's keep exploring this fascinating world of holistic plant care. Did you know that the moon and stars can guide your gardening activities? This might sound like the stuff of fairy tales, but in the world of biodynamic gardening, it's a reality. The cosmic rhythms of our universe, specifically the phases of the moon and the celestial movements, play a significant role in the growth and vitality of our plants. This is where the biodynamic calendar and lunar gardening come into play. The biodynamic calendar is a fascinating tool. It's not your ordinary day-to-day planner. Instead, it's a guide that aligns our gardening tasks with the cosmic rhythms. Developed from decades of observations and research, it considers the positions and movements of the moon and planets, dividing days into 4 categories: root, leaf, flower, and fruit days. Each category is ideal for certain gardening tasks. For instance, root days are best for planting root crops like potatoes, while leaf days are perfect for tending to leafy greens like lettuce and spinach. Now you might be wondering, how can the moon and planets possibly affect my garden? Well, just as the moon's gravitational pull influences the tides of our oceans, it also impacts the water content in the soil and within the plants themselves. This subtle ebb and flow can influence plant growth and health. As a result, tasks such as planting, pruning, and harvesting are best done in sync with these cosmic rhythms to optimize plant vitality. Lunar gardening is a key aspect of this cosmic dance. It's a practice that aligns gardening activities with the phases of the moon. For example, the waxing phase, when the moon appears to be growing in the sky, is a time of increased sap flow and is ideal for planting and encouraging growth. On the other hand, during the waning phase, when the moon appears to be shrinking, the sap flow decreases, making it an excellent time for pruning, harvesting, and discouraging growth. You see, when we garden in tune with the lunar phases and celestial rhythms, we're not just growing plants, we're nurturing a deeper connection to the natural world and the cosmos. We're becoming active participants in the grand cycle of life that extends far beyond our individual gardens. And the beauty of it is that you don't need to be an astronomer to get started. The biodynamic calendar does the heavy lifting, providing a roadmap to guide your gardening journey. But remember, biodynamic gardening is not a rigid science. It's a holistic approach that encourages observation, intuition, and flexibility. While the biodynamic calendar offers valuable guidance, each garden is unique and will respond differently to these cosmic influences. So, take the time to observe your garden, listen to its needs, and adapt accordingly. With the biodynamic calendar, gardening becomes a dance with the cosmos. It's a dance that nurtures not only our plants but also our connection to the universe and the rhythms of life. And in this dance we find harmony, balance, and a deeper appreciation for the intricate web of life that sustains us all. Biodynamic gardening isn't just about growing plants, it's about growing a healthier planet. It's hard to overstate the environmental benefits of biodynamic gardening. This holistic approach to plant care goes beyond organic, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem that nurtures not only the plants, but also the soil, the microorganisms, and the larger environment. One of the most significant benefits is water conservation. By building healthy, fertile soil through composting and cover cropping, we increase its water-holding capacity. This means less watering, less runoff, and a more efficient use of this precious resource. Plus, plants grown in this enriched soil are generally healthier and more resistant to drought, pests, and diseases, reducing the need for synthetic fertilizers and pesticides that can contaminate our waterways. Then there's carbon sequestration. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's a critical process in the fight against climate change. Soil rich in organic matter can store a significant amount of carbon, effectively pulling it out of the atmosphere where it contributes to global warming. Biodynamic practices such as composting and cover cropping build this organic matter, turning our gardens into powerful tools for carbon capture. But it's not just about the soil. Biodynamic gardening also plays a crucial role in preserving biodiversity. By creating a diverse, balanced garden ecosystem, we provide a habitat for a wide range of creatures from bees and butterflies to birds and beneficial insects. These creatures, in turn, help pollinate our plants, control pests, and contribute to the overall health of the garden. Moreover, biodynamics encourages the planting of native species, which are adapted to local conditions and form part of the natural ecosystem. These native plants often require less water and care than exotic species and provide food and shelter for local wildlife, helping to sustain the biodiversity of the area. But perhaps the most significant benefit of biodynamic gardening is its capacity for regeneration. In a world facing the escalating impacts of climate change, we need agricultural practices that not only sustain, but also restore and rejuvenate our environment. Through careful stewardship of the land, biodynamic gardening can help heal degraded soils, restore ecosystems, and build resilience in the face of a changing climate. In essence, biodynamic gardening is about more than just producing food. It's about cultivating a relationship with the earth, with the soil, the plants, the animals, the water, the air, and the cosmic rhythms that guide the cycles of life. It's about recognizing our role as caretakers of this planet and stepping up to the task with reverence and responsibility. By gardening biodynamically, we can play a part in healing our planet. Ready to embark on your biodynamic gardening journey? Let's dive into some practical tips and resources to help you get started. Firstly, Open your mind to the rhythms of nature. Biodynamic gardening is all about understanding and working with these natural cycles. Look for patterns in your local climate, observe the wildlife, and take note of the lunar cycle. All of these elements play a crucial role in biodynamic gardening. The next step is to prepare your soil. Remember, healthy soil is the foundation of a thriving garden. Start composting at home using kitchen scraps and yard waste. This will not only reduce the amount of waste you produce, but also provide you with nutrient-rich compost to feed your soil. Consider making biodynamic compost preparations that incorporate herbs like yarrow, chamomile, and stinging nettle. These preparations can enhance soil fertility and stimulate microbial activity. When it comes to planting, opt for heirloom seeds and native plants. These are often more resilient, require less maintenance, and are better suited to your local environment. Implement companion planting and crop rotation to deter pests and diseases, improve soil health, and maximize yield. The biodynamic calendar is another valuable tool. It can guide you on the best times to sow, prune, and harvest based on lunar and celestial influences. There are numerous online resources and apps available to help you navigate the biodynamic calendar. Water conservation is a key aspect of biodynamic gardening. Consider installing a rain barrel to collect rainwater for watering your garden. Not only is this a more sustainable option, but rainwater is also free from the chemicals often found in tap water. And remember, biodynamic gardening is more than just a set of techniques. It's a holistic approach that views the garden as a living, interconnected system, so observe, learn, and adapt. Don't be afraid to experiment and make mistakes. That's all part of the journey. If you're looking for further guidance, there are many excellent books on biodynamic gardening. Some notable ones include Biodynamic Gardening by Monty Walden and The Biodynamic Farm by Herbert H. Kopf. Additionally, websites like Biodynamic Association and Demeter USA provide a wealth of information and resources. You might also want to connect with local biodynamic farmers or gardening groups. They can offer valuable advice, hands-on workshops, and community support. Lastly, be patient. Transforming your garden into a biodynamic haven won't happen overnight, but with time, dedication, and love, you'll see your garden flourish in ways you never imagined. With biodynamic gardening, you can cultivate a garden that is vibrant, sustainable, and in harmony with nature. So are you ready to transform your garden and connect more deeply with the world around you? The journey to biodynamic gardening awaits. Biodynamic gardening is more than a method, it's a philosophy of life. It's a way of thinking that encourages us to see ourselves not as separate from nature, but as an integral part of it. This philosophy fosters a deep respect for the earth and its intricate web of life, inspiring us to cultivate our gardens in ways that enhance, rather than deplete, the natural world. In this journey, we've learned about the principles of biodynamic gardening, from its holistic approach to plant care and soil health, to the profound significance of cosmic rhythms and lunar cycles in agricultural practices. We've discovered the importance of composting, cover cropping, and natural fertilization methods in building healthy, life-giving soil. And we've explored the biodynamic preparations that can further enhance soil fertility and microbial activity. We've discussed the biodynamic methods for planting and cultivation, emphasizing the use of natural materials, companion planting, and crop rotation to maintain balance and harmony in the garden. We've delved into the intricacies of the biodynamic calendar, understanding how aligning our gardening activities with lunar and celestial influences can optimize plant growth and vitality. We've also touched on the environmental benefits of biodynamic gardening, from water conservation and carbon sequestration to the preservation of biodiversity. And we've looked at the role of biodynamic agriculture in promoting resilience and regeneration in the face of climate change. Finally, we've shared some practical tips and resources for those of you who are interested in incorporating biodynamic principles into your own gardening practices. Remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. There is so much more to learn and discover in the fascinating world of biodynamic gardening.